For crying out loud, if you're going through construction and have a chronic illness, don't do this. Now let's chat. Let's take a deep breath and get into it. Welcome back to our Slow Roll channel. My name is Stephanie. I am a Canadian with chronic illness and disabilities. Welcome if you've never been here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go down below and subscribe. If you have been here a few times, welcome back. Glad to have you today. Today we're going to chat about a few different things, but primarily things to consider and or not do, learn from my mistakes when you're going through construction. Now, this is a culmination of the last 6 months of our lives and so many lessons learned, but these are the top 4 things that really affected my chronic illness and my day-to-day when it came to construction. Number 1, the reality is construction is one of the most unpredictable projects you're most likely going to take on in your life. And they just change so quickly, from finding issues in walls to just the scope of any project changing drastically. And the biggest thing we learned was just to go with the flow. You gotta just kind of let it go. You gotta make sure that you trust in the crew that's building or changing or modifying or doing whatever they're doing. And you gotta assume that they know best and that they're there for you through the process. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you take on as big of a project as we did, and the effects of our day-to-day lives that this reno was going to bring for not only me, but our family and everything in between. The effects of this construction project has been massive on our lives, and I don't think we're ready for it. So you gotta kind of just, like I say, breathe and just kind of roll with the punches. It's not an easy thing to do, but you have to just kind of let it go. There's not much control in these types of projects. And for someone like me, it's not the easiest thing. I definitely had my fair share of meltdowns through this process. But the reality is you just kind of have to learn to just go with it. Number 2, I have Crohn's. When we went through the whole construction process of building, for the first couple months, always had one bathroom. So we have 2 bathrooms upstairs. We had one bathroom that we weren't going to be taking on until our first main bathroom was going to be completed. Now, that was all dandy and fine until we started construction on the second bathroom. Though it wasn't a long process, it took about 2 weeks for that bathroom to get done compared to the almost 4 months our main bathroom took. The few days that we had tilers and construction crews in and out of that second main bathroom, I didn't take into account that the little things that needed to get finished in the master bathroom, I should have told the crew in the master bathroom to take a break for those 2 days when we didn't have the other bathroom, because there was a period for about 5 hours where we had crews in both bathrooms. We had touch-ups for painting after the grout was installed in our main master bath, and then the main bathroom was getting tiled that day. None of this was supposed to happen on the same day, but here we are, the painter arrived a day early and the tile guy hadn't finished. So okay, here we were. I dealt with it. Thankfully, I wasn't having a massive Crohn's attack day. Hell didn't break loose. But in hindsight, I should have made sure to tell our main contractor or project manager to make sure that we always had one bathroom on the main floor, completely accessible to me. Because of the construction and the way we built the main, that main bathroom is connected to our bedroom. So whenever construction happens in our main bathroom, it can be really challenging. I'm often sleeping and things like that. And that leads me to number 3. Sleep is a precious thing when you have a chronic illness. It's something you don't get enough of and you can't get enough of. When you have construction crews in and out on a daily basis, Monday to Friday, life can get a little challenging. I just wasn't getting enough sleep. They were in the house anywhere between 7 and 8 a.m. They'd leave around 4 or 5 o'clock. And yeah, for a normal person who's working during those hours and all of those things happening, you wouldn't have even noticed the crew there. But for someone like me who doesn't work day to day, and my work is to make sure that I sleep and get the proper exercise, have my daily routine, and that routine stays quite fixed, it's really, really challenging. In all honesty, there's not much you can do about it. You kind of have to live through it. But know that those days are going to be challenging. Those few weeks, few months that you're going to be going through construction at that level where there's crews in and out everywhere all the time. We were contemplating pushing our move because things had gotten delayed. We couldn't do that. And so we knew going in that the month of January, when we first moved into the house and we're living through the crews being in and out, did I expect it to be as bad as it was and that my system flare was going to be that bad? No, I should have known better. I should have known it was going to be that bad. But there was just no way of anticipating it because I'd never been through it. So learn from my lovely mistakes and make sure that you get as much sleep at night as humanly possible. Make sure that your weekends aren't busy because you're going to be exhausted by the weekend. The 3 or 4 weekends where we had crews in here Monday to Friday, we didn't do anything. I slept for most of them because I was so exhausted mentally and physically. Just being up hours I'm not used to being up. My body requires me to sleep at least 10 to 12 hours a day to have any shot at a decent day. When you have crews in as long as we did, it's just not humanly possible. And so my sleep deprivation for my system really, really hurt. And it's something that we didn't anticipate as much as we probably should have. And that's something I hope you anticipate if you're taking on such a large project like ours. Next up, let's talk about pets. Now, we have 4 beautiful cats and they are just a love to have around. But when it comes to construction, it's not ideal. We would have to make sure that the cats were put in a room that the construction crew didn't need access to, which was certainly challenging on days where the electrician was around. We just needed to have access to the whole house those days. We did the best we could. We made sure that they were safe as much as possible and made sure that the crews were aware of what's going on so that we could control the scheduling and control as much as we could. Things happen. One day the cats were left out because we just had the one crew member coming in and out and it wasn't supposed to be a big in and out day. The cats had gotten fairly used to it. They liked the construction crew at this point, so they were fine. One of the crew members left the door open. I honestly thought we had lost one. I could not find Bert to save my life. Now, Bert has a tendency of hiding when the crews are around, so I took out the treats. We ended up finding him. Everything was fine. It was a moment of anxiety I really don't want to have to live over again. From now on, we got to make sure that we find a safe spot for them, and that's something we've done through this whole project. It's just one of those things. Things happen. Got to take it as it comes, and it wasn't a good day. It wasn't a fun day. But we made it work and everything was fine. Life happens. You can only do so much. We've definitely made sure that going forward, we've got less crews in and out to make sure that the lovely pets are safe. If you have construction crews coming in and out of your house, if there's any way to get your pets out of your house for the day or even the week, whatever it ends up being, I would highly recommend it if there's a way to relocate them during this process, just so that there's a little less anxiety. I would highly recommend it. So your day-to-day is going to be highly affected by any construction project, large or small. Just to recap, you got to make sure that you take it, one day at a time. You got to make sure that you always have access to a bathroom, that there's no construction crews in. You got to make sure that your pets are safe and make sure that they're in a safe place no matter what's going on with the construction. And last but not least, you have to accept the fact that your schedule and your day-to-day normality is just not going to be the same. And you have to be mentally and physically prepared for this. Construction and changes to modifications to homes is a big enough project as it is, from all the choices to make, making sure that the crews that you bring in are going to be good and do the work that you need them to do. But not only that, but you have to take care of yourself through the process. And it's not an easy thing to do when you have a chronic illness. And so just know that you're not alone in this process, and that if you know anyone who's going to be going through construction or contemplating a fairly large construction project, I would really appreciate if you could share this video with them, and hopefully this will help them through that process. And so till next time, don't forget to slow your roll.